Now, if you're from Florida, you might have heard the story of Augusta Savage. If you didn't, don't worry, I did some digging. Let's get into it. Now, Augusta was born in the Jacksonville, Florida area, all right? But she was best known for being a trailblazer for black artists in the sculpting world. Now, ever since a kid, Augusta would always make, little sculptures out of that North Florida red clay. But her father did not like that. You see, her father was a minister, right? And he thought that the things that she was making with this clay were kind of sinister. So he basically beat her 5 times a day to keep her from making sculptures. Now, she said this herself out of her mouth in an interview that her father was basically trying to beat the artistry out of her. Now, in 1915, her family relocated from the Jacksonville area to the West Palm area. And the school that Augusta was going to, the principal was encouraging her to do her artwork. Now, the principal believed in her so much that he even let her teach other students at the school sculpting. Now, by the age of 15, she had already been married. And by the age of 16, she already had a child. But her husband at the time ends up passing away. Now, when she moved down to West Palm, all right, she ended up marrying again, and that's where she got the last name Savage. Now, by 1919, all right, her artwork had already turned heads and people already knew her work. But the Palm Beach County Fair gave her a table, and her artwork ended up winning most original piece. Now, she ended up winning about $25 and a ribbon, but she got so much more than that because now people were starting to commission her for work. So Augusta was doing great, all right? Things were going really good for her. So she ended up moving to New York City with a letter of recommendation, all right? And $4.60 so she could go to an art school in New York. When the school realized that she couldn't afford the tuition for the school, they recommended she go to the Copper Union, which the Copper Union was an art school that was scholarship based, and they knew she would get in. Now that's exactly what she did. She slid in real smooth too. Got right to work, started impressing the teachers and all the other scholars at this school. They impressed her so much that there was 142 men that were waiting on a scholarship to Paris, right? Instead of picking the 142 men, they picked her instead. Now, this is where things get really messed up, all right? So the people over there in Paris was like, yeah, we love the work, boom, boom, boom. Come to find out, they didn't know she was black. But when they found out, it was over. They cut the scholarship. Now, Augusta was pissed, okay? And so was the Copper Union because it was their name on the line, all right? But what happened was the Copper Union ended up filling out some paperwork to try to get the decision overturned. But the people over in Paris, they did not care. Now, in 1923, Augusta remarries again, all right? This is her 3rd time being married. But he shortly passes away from pneumonia coming back from a trip from Africa. Now, even though she was going through a lot, all right, she didn't let that stop her because in 1929, she ended up winning the Autocon Award for her piece, Head of a Negro. Now, when she won that award, it gave her another shot at going to Paris, all right? But this time it wasn't on a scholarship. She ended up raising money from friends, family, and the Urban League. Now, when she got to Paris, she ended up going to the Academy of the Grand Chimere. I hope I'm saying that right, probably not. If y'all know anything about it, put it in the comments, all right? But when she got there, she soon realized that things weren't going the way that she wanted to. She was writing letters back home saying, look, some of these, teachers, they want you to specifically do things their way, and they're not letting the artists be artists. So after a little bit of time there, she bucked, all right? She left. She was like, I ain't doing this. But she didn't abandon the artistry. She ended up traveling to Germany and other countries to study more work. After traveling the world, studying museums, studying art, her health started to decline. So she ended up moving back to New York, all right, moving in with her daughter, and she ends up passing away in 1962. Now, a lot of her pieces, all right, were destroyed after every fair because she didn't have enough money to buy the bronze to kind of save them. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show y'all some of her most famous pieces, all right? So this one, all right, is the Harp. They call it the Harp. But it was made in the idea of lift every voice and sing. She was commissioned this by New York City, all right? And this one is in the Smithsonian, I believe. Now, they do have a full-size one, all right, at the African American Museum in Washington, D.C. So earlier, I made a mistake, all right? I'm human, all right? So this one is the Head of a Negro, okay? This was one of her more popular sculptures that she made. And this is Gammon, Okay, sorry, this is the one I messed up earlier, but this is probably one of her most popular pieces that she made. It was, she got the idea from the Harlem Youth because in her earlier career, she did a lot of things with the Harlem Renaissance. So the more you know, shout out to Augusta Savage. All right, peace.